Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Deputy. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Obviously, this episode's picking up right after everything that went down. At the end of the last episode, Luna is going through surgery, pulling the bullets out of him, and obviously, everyone's on high alert, I'd say other cops, because it's like, hey, this is Luna, he's a good guy, he's a brother in arms, so everyone's kind of already on edge about this. Obviously, Joseph is devastated because he kind of blames himself, because it's like, I was there with him, and I feel so bad because Minnick, she kind of drilled into him, being like, remember something, just don't say sorry, just because basically you're, the day's done doesn't mean you're ever off. I forgot I'm already messing it up, but it was just basically being like, even though you weren't supposed to be in uniform or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're off duty. Like, you still should have had his back. Joseph tried to be like, I'm sorry, but she's like, don't give me sorry. And at first I'm like, that's not fair, kind of putting this all on Joseph, because the fact of the matter is, he's a rookie in all of this, and the fact of the matter is, Luna was literally showing him the ropes. Like, the fact is, because I'm sure Joseph also blames himself, because he's probably thinking, like, I didn't act soon enough. Maybe I could have stopped the dude who shot him, but so, because he already feels, because obviously, like, you have Bill kind of telling him, he's like, hey, stay here, look after Luna. He's like, no, I want to be out there. It's like, yeah, but with your heightened emotions right now, you're not going to be good for anybody. You could get in the way, your emotions could get in the way, and mistakes can happen. You or other people could get killed. And also, you're my godson. I'm not going to look your mother in the eye and have her lose someone else she loves under my, watch, So he feels probably like, I'm also being pushed to the side. I can't do anything. Like, I should be the one out there helping, so all that. But in the grand scheme of things, like I said, I was like, oh, that's not fair for Minnick, but it's like, she's emotional. Everyone is. Like, everyone's on high emotions, especially her, because, this is the man that she loves that's in this condition. So it's like, of course you're going to take your frustrations out on somebody, because it's like, if I was there, I would have had his back, but you were there. It doesn't matter. Don't give me excuses. You should have had his back. Like, even she, recognizes, it wasn't 100% his fault, or it wasn't his fault at all. It's just, sadly, that's just, the way life is, And so Bill, Jerry comes up and was like, hey, and Bill's like, all right, you know what? I am going to, you're going to come to me and tell me that you want to do the speeches. Like, right. You talk to the press and stuff like that while I focus on, because even at that moment he recognizes I'm not the best with words, and all that's going to do is end up getting me in trouble. Obviously did the previous episodes. So it's kind of like talking to the press isn't really my thing, but it's like you get the city under control, let people know what's happening. We'll kind of handle things. And even, Bishop is telling Jerry, like, hey, look, the fact of the matter is he's delegating. That's showing that he's growing. Like, at least he's, trying to recognize, like, hey, I'm weak in this area, so you, Jerry, you handle this. But Jerry's still kind of like, well, make sure the doors don't end up flying off the hinges type of situation. Bishop's kind of got that look like you're just kind of expecting the worst of Bill, So, Bill tells the other cops, the fact of the matter is Luna's very good at his job. He's a good guy. And the fact of the matter is, one of your brothers in arms was hurt. So I know you're going to want revenge, but basically tells them to calm down. It's like, let's kind of do the good work that he would do and go out there and find the guy who did this to him. Hell, even these cops are harassing people. It's like, oh, like, we're just doing our job and everything. And he's like, yeah, and I'd hate for the shooter to get away because of just the way you're handling this, not going by the book. So, and that's what I think is a really neat element to this. And that's actually a big focus of the story is Bill's approach to this whole situation. Because at first it's like, okay, some cops are kind of handling some people, like, despite whatever the circumstances are. Like I said, a lot of these cops are on edge because, like, one of their own was killed, so they're going to go out in full force. But, Bill telling them, like, the fact of the matter is you don't handle things the right way. If we do catch the shooter, he can walk away. I'm telling you that now. So do your job, make sure you don't kind of compromise that, and they kind of nodded, like, kind of, we understand. So I thought that was kind of a neat element, But the episode also does show that Bill can cross to some gray areas, because for him, like, he was talking to one of the dudes who the bullet was registered with a gun to that this dude was it Daniel, and they visit him, and obviously, like, Bill's kind of threatening him. It's like, And obviously you have Bishop being like, geez, if someone were to walk in and hear this recording, Kay was like, the fact of the matter is Bill needs to slip back into his old self to get this done. And I think that's kind of interesting because even Cade's like, we need the old Bill to get shit done if we want to find the guy, who did this to Luna. Because all the while, like, Minnick and Joseph are working together because Joseph remembered the whole Levon situation. So it's like, all right, let's go look into this. And after a chase and everything, it turns out Levon ended up not being the guy behind all this. In fact, he ended up being Luna's criminal informant. So now I think that adds a little more context to like what he was saying, Joseph. It's like you're not ready to kind of like be mixed up in something, because I guess it's like, because what he was more so probably implying was like, you don't want that lesson yet where you have to basically put someone in a position where they could be in danger, or putting, I don't know, maybe being responsible for someone in that regard. I think maybe that's kind of what he was applying. Maybe not. But even Levon was like, yo, it's Gabriel O'Caven. He's always been good to me. He's a good dude, So it's like things kind of didn't work on that front, I was scared that the Minnick situation, like, she might go a little overboard, but it's like, luckily, no, because like everyone was able to kind of keep their calm and composure under these circumstances. I am curious when it's all said and done. I think maybe Minnick and Joseph will be partnered up in everything, and she'll kind of teach him the ropes, what she learned from Luna, kind of passing to him. And I think the whole Levon, like, because basically it was like a counterfeit investigation that Levon was his criminal informant for. So I think her and Joseph might pick that up, and that might become their thing to kind of carry on. Definitely for Minnick, she might want to use this as an opportunity to kind of carry on something that Luna had started, So, but circling back, I hadn't even talked about it. It's actually sad because Paula had talked about the fact is that apparently one of the bullets had torn through his spine, so he would have been paralyzed. I was like, because then immediately my brain's like, oh man, that's going to suck. Like, I mean, at least Minnick's going to be happy for him to be alive, but obviously that's going to change everything, but at least he'll be alive. And then he dies. I was like, I didn't expect that. Like, I legitimately thought he was going to make it through, but I didn't expect him to die. I never knew that whole, like, how, that whole end to watch thing. I didn't, like, I'm assuming that's a real cop thing because I've seen that on multiple things. But like Bosch is the first show I ever saw do that. I'm not saying there are other shows that haven't done it, but like I haven't watched a lot of cop shows that have ever covered that angle like that. So I don't know if that's like a specific like LA thing or whether that's like every cop thing does that. But it's like I said, I've just never seen many shows. I think Bosch was the first show I've ever seen that has done like the whole into watch thing, and it's a very like it's a sad yet there's like I don't know, there's this beautifulness to it. I don't know how to really put it into words. Like, someone dying is never like beautiful, but it's just kind of like a send off like that, and just like the symbology behind it like that. I don't know, man. There's some. I don't know, something about it. I respect a lot. I think it's a very nice send off for someone. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know how to put into words how I feel about it. But I'm sorry, I kind of went on a bit of a tangent there. They ended up getting one dude's name. What was it? Marquise, and they were trying to track him down. So you have Bill going to the mayor who works at a barbershop, which I guess, for Bill, the mayor's the only person he likes because the mayor doesn't get too caught up in the political stuff. He's the only politician that's worth a damn, because I guess he also works like a small job. He doesn't let the power and position go to his head, that he still keeps his roots with the community. And it also seems like he kind of has a ties to those worlds because of his ties to the community. So I guess he kind of helps Bill out from time to time. And I'm curious to kind of learn about their history and stuff like that, because he's the one that kind of gave Bill the location of Marquise later on. So there was also another interesting element to this, was the fact is that Jerry had made this decision. He was like, yeah, we know exactly who is the one behind Luna's death. And then you have Bill being like, I literally told you you could have one press conference and you had another one. You're literally telling the people we know who it is that did this when we don't, because literally the person you're saying is the suspect has literally been in prison the entire time, so they couldn't have been the ones that did this. So it's kind of like you're manipulating this situation. The fact of the matter is, and I like Bill being like, when this is all said and done, you and me, Jerry, we're going to step outside until we're on the right page. Because for him, it's like, Jerry's just undermining his authority because apparently some other cops had come to speak to him about like what Bill had found out about. And Bill was like, tell me those cops' names. He's like, I can't do that. If I do, all it's going to do is turn into this uneasiness. There's people who are still loyal to Bradford who kind of like the way things were run before. So obviously there's some cops, like it's basically saying some cops don't like the way Bill handles things, much like Jerry. But obviously, as we saw with Minnick, Jerry can be very persuasive to be like, oh, like the fact, man, that promotion you want, right? So you're going to be more inclined to listen to him. But it seems like Jerry is making big steps behind his back, that he's gathering up other cops. Obviously, like, I guess they got to find the right stuff to use against him to kind of get him out of, the sheriff position before that, like, I mean, we're probably down a couple more days at this point, but before it was like 104 days left, before like the whole, his situation expires as sheriff and stuff like that. So, I think they're probably trying to dig up stuff to kind of expedite that a lot more. But it doesn't seem like he has the full support of a lot of cops. It's only like maybe like half a dozen cops were in the room with him. So it's like, oh, I guess this is it. So I'm curious. I guess even that council or, whatever that the head honchos, the other cops that he was meeting with in the previous episode and stuff like that to talk about, I guess even they probably aren't too, like, it seems like Jerry's doing some, like, super shady stuff to kind of get rid of, because it looks like it's not through official channels, because I guess Bill hasn't really done anything that he could officially kind of, like, push Bill out for, because even when he's done things officially, it hasn't really worked out, so it seems like he's trying to find, like, a snake way, to kind of go about the approach, Like I said, Bill was very threatening in this episode, but I do appreciate the fact is that he didn't go too far. Like I said, other people, even Cade at one point, kind of had his gun drawn and everything, but you're like, well, it was more of a fear tactic and everything to kind of get home dude talking, but still you're kind of like, it's not, But when they find out about, like, the address of, like, yeah, I sold the gun to this dude who lived in this house with a whole bunch of stuff in it, in the front yard, Cade remembers that's the house where he went, and that old lady was like, oh, my son's sleeping and stuff like that. And I'm like, I had a feeling it had to be that, just because, like, oh, her son just happens to be sleeping. It almost seemed like she was a little nervous, but, I think it also speaks volumes because Cade went there, obviously talking to a lot of people. Some people are just like, I ain't see nothing. It's like, oh, where were you when so-and-so got shot? So it's a whole thing of like, the dissonance between the community and the police, because it's kind of like, oh, you're showing up now because one of your own got shot. But when it's like a civilian, when it's, someone maybe of a different color or something, it might be a different issue. That, that's, and that's just, sadly the issues that persist, obviously, within the confines of the show, but obviously in real life between, like I said, the community and the police, And so they do go fully locked and loaded, like, kind of surrounding the house, and the mom comes out, because I thought she was just trying to protect her child. To a certain extent she was, but she wasn't lying before. She didn't realize her son had did what he did, because it turns out he was off his meds. And that's crazy, because, like, and it, to me, and it, I don't know if it's, I mean, someone dying regardless sucks. Like, there's no, like, oh, like, nothing's going to make that better, but like, it's almost sadder, because it's like, it's not even like something related to his cases that led to that. It was just sad circumstances, because I think I said Daniel earlier, but I think Daniel's the name of the actual killer in this case. He was off his meds, and he wasn't thinking straight because he had issues with his dad. It's like, you don't love me. So when he went there, I think maybe he was aiming at Joseph, because he was, in his mind, he was thinking Joseph was his dad maybe, but he ended up killing Luna, or whatever the case may be. Maybe when he went in there, he thought he saw his dad, but then, like, because his dad frequented that store, and he just went in there and shot, because Bill had played, I had skipped over it, but I thought it was, Bill had played, the voicemail, and it's like, the killer waited a couple seconds and then left, because they had to kind of wait. They calmly left out, so they weren't in a hurry or whatever, proving that the killer had lived fairly close by or whatever, But it was just sad to realize that, the guy wasn't in his right mind. Because obviously, everyone outside, once again, every cop was on edge. So everyone, it's kind of like probably, whether it's protocol or not, they were going to go a very heavy-handed route. But Bill found another way around. But now realizing, like, we can handle this another way. And the guy was just kind of like, the one person he hates more than his dad is himself. So he's going to reach for the gun, but Bill wouldn't let him. And obviously, like, someone fired off some shots without Bill's orders. Luckily, no one got hit, but, Bill ends up arresting him in the end. And like I said, it's one of those things of like, it's not like it would be better if it was something related to his case, to, Luna's case, or whether it was just something related to what he would work. It didn't matter. It's a sad situation regardless, and the situation makes it even sadder, just realizing it's just, like I said, just wrong place, wrong time type of situation. It's always, sad. And like I said, these circumstances, this was just a guy that was, ran out of meds. His mom couldn't really afford to replenish his meds and stuff like that. She didn't realize that he's the one that shot Luna, so... But then all those cops are looking. They had that look on their face like, you're just going to arrest a guy? You even see that look kind of on Cade's face of like, wait, Bill, you're really just going to arrest a guy? But Bill tells them all to go home. The fact of the matter is, you get to go home to your families, and make sure you do that every night, for yourself, but also, for Luna, who can't, Because it's sad, too, because, like, Minnick had to be like, Luna has no family. I guess, like, they died. And it was kind of like, the only person in his life was Minnick. She's the only thing close to family he had, besides, obviously, his, fellow brother and sisters, in uniform, though. So it's just a sad situation all around. But like I said, I love that beautiful moment of him at the end with Paula. Talking, because like the fact of the matter is, like I said, like every cop was on edge. Like everyone kind of wanted this to kind of be going down. They wanted an excuse to kind of end things differently, but he didn't. And I love that, and it shows his growth. He's like, if this was me a couple weeks ago, because all these deputies, they wanted revenge. He's like, a couple weeks ago, that would have been me. If it wasn't for him taking the job as sheriff and getting a different perspective, he's willing to kind of put his emotions aside to kind of get the job done, to do it right, because like I said, he's a cowboy and he still keeps those elements, but he's coming at this from a different perspective. And it's like this position's kind of he's growing into this position of like, might not have wanted to be sheriff. The position of sheriff kind of landed at your feet in a weird way, but it seems like he's growing into that position, and Bishop's by his side being like, yo, look at him. Jerry's not recognizing that. He's kind of getting so caught up in his own, feelings about all of this and his feelings towards Bill, that he's kind of getting caught up in that and not recognizing, because I'm curious, like, the fact is Bill handled things that way. It's like no one else amongst the cops was going to handle it that way. So I'm curious to see what Jerry's going to think in the long run. I mean, maybe even Jerry's going to be like, you should have let him die because but like I said, there's circumstances behind it, because like Paul has said, as sheriff, like, he was able to see the gray area that no one else was able to see. Like, everyone else kind of would have just kind of been like, oh, like, use any excuse to take him down. But it's like, you're the one that took time, put your gun away, to talk to him and realize, oh, things aren't right here, because bringing in more people would have just led to more people getting shot. So it's like, I came in here for one guy to arrest, like I said, he was trying to handle this, like, just from a justice perspective. It wasn't just kind of like, it wasn't, like I said, which is interesting, like, because that whole conversation is kind of something that pops up in an episode of Evil this week, the whole like difference between just pure vengeance and actual justice, so I thought it was pretty nice. So you had the whole situation with Minnick, saying her goodbyes to Luna. She was worried because she dropped her necklace. I thought it might be out in that, when she tackled Levon, but it's like, no, like, luckily Joseph found it and gave it to her. And he's like, I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm sorry. And I'm like, she hugs him and everything. So I think it's not going to be easy, but I think they're going to be good. I like I said, I think they're going to end up getting partnered up. We kind of hope so, considering everything. I think she'll be the one to kind of teach him, and Joseph will grow from this situation. And like I said, I threw it out there what I think about what potentially happen with the whole Levon situation, but ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see, where all this ends up carrying us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.